Hello and welcome to a new edition of What's Up with K9s. I wanted to do a quick video or a quick presentation on some of the new features coming up in v0.40.0. I think a lot of you will be waiting for this drop with bated breath. This has been a feature that many of you have asked for, and it was not simple to implement given the current design. So it was a little bit of an effort here to put it together, but I think you guys are going to dig it. So the feature is custom columns, right? The ability to further customize your views and add ad hoc column based on the resource you are viewing, right? So this is particularly useful when you are viewing like CRDs. CRDs are pretty thin in terms of the information that is volunteered, and having the ability to add custom columns and be able to parse out the JSON and pull more interesting attributes on those resources is a big deal for you to be able to view. All right, so let's take a peek and see what we got. So if I fire off K9, let's just go with pods in a default namespace for the time being. So as you recall, in K9s, you can specify K9s info, and this shows me where that views file needs to reside for me to be able to load those custom views, right? Again, on this, just a quick parenthesis, is I am using reactive mode, right? I have that bit set to true, meaning that any changes that I make on the file system will be live reloaded in the interface, which is a feature that we've had for a long time. All right, so keep that in mind. That's what I have going on here with my scenario. All right, so let's go ahead and edit this file. All right, so views, the way we find views in K9s is by specifying the GVR, right? Group version resource. And we're expecting, that in that order. So in this case, pods are in the core group. Usually we leave it blank in Kubernetes. So if I just specify, so group version is v1, and the resource is pods, which is the plural form, right? It's the R for resource. And, again, business as usual here, we have this attribute sort column, specify which column you want to sort on. This is a thing that we had before. And let's say I want to look at age ascending. And then for my columns, let's go ahead and start with blank. So this is one of the first features actually that we have going. In the old days, with custom views, you had to actually list out every columns that you wanted to configure and rearrange and reorder, right? When you do that now, you actually pulling from the default representation for that resource, which is what you are seeing right here on screen, right? So if I don't do any customization at all, we'll just pull the default columns for that resource. That's it. Okay. But let's do something a little more interesting here. Let's, for example, say, okay, I want to see the age column, the name column, and the namespace column. Okay. Sorry for my typing. You guys know how bad I am at this. So let's go ahead and save this. All right. So what we see here is my age and my name column are showing. Namespace is omitted because I'm already in a namespace, which is default. But if I went with the old namespace, then we will see the namespace column here. So that's, again, something that we had before. But now, on this, you can actually go in and specify like attributes, what I call column attributes on those specifications. So here, for example, for the age column, again, the syntax here, I have to pipe using the pipe symbol, and here we have a variation of characters showing different attributes, right? For example, I can right align age. I want to see it right justified on the column versus the default left justified. So again, R and L are two of the attributes that you can call up on the column. Similarly, I can also tag in a W, and W says only show me this column I am in wide mode, right? So in this case, it'll disappear, and then I can go wide, and again it'll reappear as expected. Okay, so again, this is a little bit of a nicety on that, but I think it's very useful to be able to further customize how that column is actually displayed, and I'm sure you guys are going to think of more scenarios that I could on this drop, but that's there. The other thing also, since we're here and touching on this, if I hacked this is the pro tip section. If I made it not match any resource, I go back to default, and a lot of people are asking me to document, the columns for each resource, which will be crazy endeavor. So this is how you actually see all the columns that are available, by basically you're going back to what the default representation for that resource is, right? So that's a quick pro tip for you. All right, so let me go back to what we have so far. Again, here I can go ahead and change this to be descending order. Again, this is the ascending descending order, and in this case age is wide, but we can see that it's actually showing the flags here correctly. Okay, so far so good. I hope you're still with me on this. So let's go ahead and now do something like an actual custom column, right? So if you notice, when I went wide here, I have actually a common label key, which is app for that particular workload. So let me go ahead and leverage that, right? So if I go back to non-wide mode, and let's say, for example, I want a column called bozo, and the syntax here is kind of close to what kubectl custom column has. So you can go with a column, and then you specify your JSON parse expression. So metadata.labels, right? So again, if we describe the resource, if we go to YAML, probably be more useful. You can see that I have this labels key app here, and that's what I want to dive in. So I'm going to go and say app here. All right. So when I save that, now we have this new column that only shows me that app label on the pods, right? So again, you can use the same syntax, right? So I don't know, if I had a annotation here, you could also use, annotations, whatever, right? So this is all, in the same vein as, plowing through the JSON and pulling the fields that you want to see. Okay, so again, just like I did for age, you can also pipe those resources to specify how they are actually going to be displayed, in the table. So if I went wide there, that column would disappear, and then when I go wide, we can actually see that bozo column, right? So this is super useful because there's only so much space that we have, and already the pod view is pretty busy. You can just restrict the number of columns that you want to see and go wide to actually dive into the details, right? Similarly, I can do something here. That's another attribute, which is hide, right? You don't care about that at all, right? I don't care about the name of the pods. Bad example, but let's just say that's what I have. So now you'll see, if I save, you'll see name disappeared, and even when I go wide, that name is not there either, right? So this is another aptitude here. Again, the flags are documented. You can look at the K9s docs, and we have a handful of values that you can use. For example, if I can say, I don't know, let's go with blee, and I can say metadata, the creation, is it creation time? I forgot. creation timestamp. And here you can specify that this is, the special sort order for some of the columns. So this is a time, and we want to sort it accordingly. So we have to specify time here. And let's just say I want to write justify that. So now we'll see my new column, Blee. No surprise there, it matches age because that's where it's pulling from. But again, we have a few variations for time, for numbers. You can right and left to justify them, if you wish. So a handful of flags. I'm sure that'll be something that we can improve as well, in further drops. Okay, so that's interesting. Let's go ahead and do something else. Again, if I go back to my YAML, let's do something a little bit more interesting. Let's pull out the container status, for example. So let's go with the column Zorg, and let's go ahead and say, let's see, status. So we're going to dive into the status of the pod. And that's kind of handy to be able to see the various fields there. So again, array type on status, container statuses. So let's go ahead and do those statuses. I want to pull them all, and I want to get, let's say, the restart count, right? So now this column will list out, depending on how many containers are on a given pod, how many of them there are that have been restarted several times. So in this case, none, but let's go wide here in all namespace, and now you can see, in this case here, I have a pod with 2 containers, shows restart status to 0 for each. And then, this one has 5 restarts, and so forth and so on, right? So that's kind of cool to be able to dive in further and get more information to you as you're administering your clusters, which I think is cool. Okay, let's go look at another resource. Again, same vein, just another example. Let me go back to a default namespace. So here I've got 3 endpoints. Let's go ahead and customize that guy. So I can do endpoints. All right, you don't have to have sort colon. It's going to default to name or namespace depending on what you are viewing. And let's just say, for example, I want to see age, I want to see name, and I want to see, I don't want to see endpoints. Let's say we don't want to see this column. So again, we hide it. And then let's say I want to do my own thing, blah, and let's go ahead and dive into this guy. Let's look at ports, for example. So subsets, again, look at the YAML here. We have subsets, which is an array type, and ports, which is an array type. So let's go ahead and pull all of those guys out. Ports, store, port. I want to get the port number out of that. Okay. And if I didn't screw up, we should see my new column here listing out the ports as expected. Right, again, you can move this guy to be the first column, and show it that way. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to see. I mean, it's pretty, it's simple. That was the goal, and that was so hard to put together because I wanted to keep it simple and piggybacking on construct that you guys already knew. So hopefully you'll find this useful. And, again, if you do, you make sure, you stop by the sponsorship page and, show your appreciation as well this way. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.